Welcome to the Change Book Podcast. My name is Rachel Best, and this is our co-host.
I'm Karl Fryberg.
And this is the Change Book series. It is the fastest growing self-empowerment book series on the planet.
This spans over 30 countries, and we now bring them all together in a powerful podcast destined to change people from all corners of the globe.
So go ahead and grab your pen and paper because our guest today is going to share a lot of amazing tips and inspiration that you're definitely going to want to write down.
Hello, everyone. I'm Karl Fryberg, and I am your host for the Change Book Podcast. And we have an amazing guest today that I can't wait to bring on. We've been kind of chatting on Facebook a little, and I'm really excited to meet this gentleman. He is the author of not one, but 3 books, with more in the pipeline. So that's going to be exciting to see what he has waiting for us. He has had many successes. He has had many failures, and his mantra is never give up. And I can attest that he doesn't, because he sent me a message today saying that he had COVID for 4 days and then said the show must go on. So everyone, I want to introduce to you Karl with a K, Fryberg. Karl, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm fabulous, Nicole. What's the old phrase? Fake it till you make it.
You know what? I'm with you on that one. Let's do it. And I think we're really close to being there, Karl. What do you think?
Yes, very much. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to be out of bed.
Yay! Yay!
It's been a long kind of hard road to hoe here the last few days. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here, and it's again really nice to meet and speak with you face to face through the Ethernet, as we say. And I'm just super excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, I was looking at your bio that you sent me, and I'm not going to be able to do it justice. So I want to hear from you who you are and what you do, Karl.
Sure, that's great. And, I'm so glad that everybody's decided to tune in here for the next 3 or 4 hours while I explain that to everyone.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait a minute. I got to give you the abridged version.
Okay, watch the live clock, Karl.
Yeah, so I'm coming up on 62 years old. I was born and raised in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, kind of the heart of the Pennsylvania Dutch country, or the Amish country, which I believe, instilled a lot of good character in myself, which is one of the reasons that when something that happens, when I make a commitment, I stick to it, regardless of COVID or anything else. My kind of mantra that I've lived by all my life is speak of what you will do and I will listen. Do what you speak of and I will believe.
I love that.
And,
that's beautiful.
To make the long and short of that one is don't say it if you're not going to do it. And
that's what I always told my girls is if you tell someone you're going to do something, whether it's show up or do something from them, you better do it, because be impeccable with your word.
Yes. I mean, without that, we're nothing. And it's, it's something that we all need to do our best. That's my other favorite phrase is I don't try anything. I do my best.
Yeah.
That's trying just means I'm going to throw some effort into it. And then as soon as it gets a little difficult, I'm going to quit. Well, being here today is difficult, but I'm here because I said I would. So,
and I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Oh, I'm really excited to do this. I've been looking forward to this as well as meeting you, as I mentioned before. So let's fast forward through a few years. I've been involved with multiple multi-level marketing companies, network marketing, real estate investing. I consider myself a serial entrepreneur. I have a full-time sort of job gig. It's my own company, so I'm not a slave to a time clock or anything like that. I'm just a slave to all the people that want my money. So yeah, I've gone through many different phases in life, had great successes, great failures. Anybody who's made it this far in life that doesn't have failures is a liar. I think I can be candid on that one. There's lots of people out here in this space that are showing all this flash and everything about who they are, and they have nothing to really back it up with. And that's just something that I can't bring myself to, because I'm honest and I have integrity. So let's get into a little bit of the whole author and the reason why we're here for the Change book, which is my first book. My first book that I officially say, because it's the first one that made it out onto Amazon, is A Limb for Limb. And that is the subtitle is The 100-Year-Old Oak That Changed My Life.
Let's hear about that.
I was helping a dear friend and a neighbor 4 years ago. This was actually 4 months before COVID. Take care of a large dead oak branch in his yard that was on a tree. And when we got it loose from the tree, it took a horrible bounce and severed my right big toe in the blink of an eye.
Wow.
Of course, turning my income to zero at the blink of an eye as well. So I went through 2 different operations, about 4 months of rehabilitation and healing. I got back to work maybe the second week of January, and by the third or fourth week of January, everything in the U.S. shut down because of COVID. So it was a real eye-opening experience, a real struggle financially, physically, mentally. And one of the things that I did while I was laying around on the couch pretty much for 4 months, because there wasn't much more I could do except be in bed, I spent my days on my laptop looking for what's my next stream of income, what's something that I can do to avoid this challenge ever occurring again. And one of the things I found was book writing. I bought a course that taught me how to get the books published, get them up on Amazon. I think everybody knows already by now, I'm never at a loss for words. So it was pretty simple for me to write. And I think one of the greatest things, and I would recommend this to anybody who's going through any kind of a real challenge or struggle in their life, it helps to put it on paper. It helps tremendously. Get it out of your head, get out of your own head, and write stuff down. Because one of the things that I found that I'm so grateful for was that in the process of writing this book, you have to write, then you read it, then you write some more, then you read it, you correct it, you write, you read, you write, you read. I relived that experience time after time after time as I was bringing this book to completion. And I think it's one of the best healing processes that anybody could go through, whether it's a death in the family, a divorce, just some horrible event that's occurred that's put you into this place. And also I want everybody to understand that most challenges can be overcome if you put the perseverance and the effort into asking for the help, which is one of the things that many of us are too proud to do. And I think we all know it's a big challenge in this world right now, with all the bullying and all the stuff that goes on and all the, if you don't read the paper and watch the news, life's a whole lot better place than if you do. So we're not going to go down that path, but I just want to make that recommendation to everyone. So that's kind of how I got to where I believe what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to talk about it because I've written some other books too, and you're right, they're very, very healing. And it's a whole different experience for me it was anyway, to sit down and start thinking about what I'm going to write about. For me it was a little bit of a challenge, but as I reflect back, the healing that takes place and things like that is amazing. And it was so interesting. What was your why for picking the Change book?
It's a great, interesting story. And, many of us that are in this kind of space where we're always looking for continued education, continued improvement in ourselves. A dear friend of mine from high school, believe it or not, had reached out to me. We had been connected through Facebook for many years, but we hadn't seen each other in over 40 years since we graduated. And they had an event going on down in Miami with a group that he's involved with. And he said, "You've got to come to this thing." He literally contacted me a week before the event and said, "Karl, I can't believe I didn't think of you. We're in Miami next weekend. I live in Fort Lauderdale. I work in the yachting industry. I work on boats, and I was working right down the river from the Miami airport, where the event was at one of the Miami airport hotels.
So no
So
coincidence, right?
there's no coincidence. It's always right place, right time, right reason.
Absolutely.
Fabulous 2-day event of only a few hundred people. So very intimate, very personal, some great leaders. Um, for me, the first time I was able to get back out and do something like that since COVID, since my accident and everything. And for those of us that are, like I call it, webinar junkies, if we don't get our cup filled up, we fall apart. So it was great to go and get my cup filled back up. And my good friend of all my life, his girlfriend, reached out to me shortly after the event and said, I'm in touch with these guys, Jim Lutz and Jim Britt, and I really think I love your story and what you shared with me at the event, and I really think this is something that might be in your wheelhouse. I had just finished the first final printable draft of my most recent book, which is Goal Setting Simplified.
Nice.
Which is what my chapter in the book and what it's all about. And what I've tried to do is just that. I've tried to make goal setting simple. It's to me, it's a travesty that this nation, this great nation of ours, does not teach any kind of how can you make your life better before you get out of high school and become part of a cog in the wheel. Imagine if they were teaching us goal setting in kindergarten and first grade. And by the time we were graduating high school, we had our own companies, our own corporations. We were business people. No, they want you to go get a job for 35 years and get a gold watch. So I try to make it my big vision and dream with it is to really, when I begin my speaking and trainings in this space, is to be able to get as far down as I can to find the younger people, because, I think we all know, you and I are both kind of elders, even though we're both youngsters.
Absolutely.
Yes. But with elders comes wisdom and becomes responsibility. It's our job to carry the flag and pass down the knowledge. And I really want to be able to get into the hearts of young people and teach them that, that there's more out there if you're willing to run for it and go for it. Thus the top title of the book, which is Running for Your Lifestyle.
Oh, I love that.
That's
very intriguing.
This close to trademarking it. The last step is the website, which is being finalized as we speak. A year and $1,500 later, I'm about to get my trademark.
Yay! That's exciting, Karl.
It's fabulous. So yeah, Running for Your Lifestyle is what I'm going to kind of blanket everything umbrella everything under. Even the Limb for Limb book, I may end up changing that and bring it into the Running for Your Lifestyle family of books. I'm working on one that's called Credit Creativity Simplified, because one thing that, and thank God that I knew enough about how to play the credit card game when I had my accident. Because literally the first thing I did was apply for 4 credit cards. My wife got 2, I got 2 with 0 interest for 16 months, $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 each. We literally had to buy groceries, everything. A little bit of money was coming in between her job and the few things that were coming to me went to pay the regular bills. The rest of it, we had no choice but to do credit when the money ran out. So sure. Credit Creativity Simplified is about 3/4 of the way done. Social Media Marketing Simplified, again, kind of a 101, especially because now I'm talking too much.
No. Well, it's so interesting, Karl. And one thing I want to ask you is it says in here that you are a coach. So do you do seminars to teach or coach the younger people? Because I have 2 daughters, 20 and 28, and they were, I look back, they were taught nothing about real life, really. they get a grasp on a few things, but they don't teach you how to balance your checkbook. They don't teach you how to use credit. They don't teach you any of that. Are those the things that you're doing seminars or, masterminds about?
Yes, these are all part of an ongoing and building process that I'm in the midst of right now. Most of what I've done has been pretty much one-on-one type of coaching, individual. I've done a little bit of live talking. I've got a great, my first, what I would consider a big event, which is not going to be my first because it's January of next year. So there will be more between now and then. I'm absolutely certain of it. Is the Global Vision Conference, which is held down here in Fort Lauderdale. This is actually their 10th year. And I've been honored and blessed to be working directly with the founders and creators of this event. And I'm actually going to be speaking, probably the first real speaker of the weekend, and speak on vision, which vision, and we're not talking about this. We're talking about this.
Right. This big.
And my goal setting book is very much about, the idea is you turn your dreams into visions, your visions into goals, your goals into reality. And it's a process. So I'm really excited to do that. And within the Running Fear lifestyle courses that I'm putting together, yes, there's going to be courses on each of the different social media marketing, not so much. That's going to be more like a book. But as far as the credit creativity and the goal setting, I'm finalizing goal setting mastery simplified, which is kind of be like, let's call goal setting simplified 101, and then goal setting mastery is going to be, kind of an advanced version that we dive deeper into what's going on. And that course is going to include live trainings, group Zooms, individual one-on-one consultations, etc. And these are all things that are coming to be. And being from Pennsylvania, I don't know where else it comes from, but the cart before the horse. That's
yes.
I'm a little bit cart before the horse today, but again, as I mentioned, I'm extremely transparent. So yes, I got lots in the pipeline.
That's awesome. And when you talk about the credit and the vision, when you were younger, did you have an awareness of that, or is this something that came, as you got older, as you looked around? I mean, it sounds like you're brilliant. So I'm going to throw that out there. But is this like knowledge when you were younger, or wisdom as you aged?
Oh no, this was all school of hard knocks.
Okay.
Like most education is.
Yeah.
I'd say after the bankruptcy of 1980, that's kind of where it began. But even that's 40 years ago. So
and we've lived through some
1990. It wasn't 1980. I just graduated high school in 1980. It took me 10 years to trash myself.
Oh, you took your time. No,
that's right.
I'm sure there was some fun stuff in between there. So,
yeah,
because my girls have never been through a hard time. They've always been buffeted, by their parents, by me and their dad. And so when you talk about this, I'm very aware of everything that happened, in the 80s and the 90s, the bank that, in 2008. And there's some people that don't realize that life does get tough sometimes. They have no awareness of that. So, once you start teaching people to look around and have a vision, I think that's so important. How are you going to find these young people to bring into this to help them?
Well, I've got some people in my posse or my team or whatever you want to call it that because of what they do, their particular niches in the communities, etc. I've really, and again, this all came from right place, right time, the event that I was at in Miami, because it was able to bring me in touch with more local people than I think I've ever had the opportunity to get in touch with as far as like-minded, driven individuals. So what's happened is we've all kind of joined forces. We have a trademark attorney. We have a woman who all she does is feed and clothe the hungry around the world. Johnny Regan is the global vision. His thing is movies and popcorn. All he wants is to feed and clothe the hungry children of the world and give them movies and popcorn.
That's not a bad idea.
Those two are already well connected with the children of the world, and the interesting thing is the struggling children of the world. And if there's anything I can do, if there's anything that I can do for, not for me, for the world, it's to reach out and see if I can't help make a change for those people. I mean, that's
absolutely that comes from the heart, and your voice changes when you talk about that.
Yeah,
and I can just feel
the trading dollars, hours for dollars. That's what is that? That just keeps the world moving, going around. That's all that does. So if you don't have a purpose, if you don't have a place, again, Karl always speaks from his opinion. This is my opinion.
That's great.
If you don't have a place and a purpose, then you're just what is it? What's I think something we all need to strive for, and we would all love to have, is when the day comes that we are no more, is that our name carries on to the end of time in a good way. In a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I don't care about thousands of people at my funeral because I don't expect to have a funeral. I expect one hell of a party.
Well, if I'm around, I'll come.
Yeah. So that's, to me, it's, and, I'm going to be 62 next month. I mean, my dad lived till he was 94 and a half. Sharp as could be, fell and broke his hip.
Oh,
it's
goodness.
My wife works full time in medical billing and coding for home health. And it's almost like the number one cause of death in elders is breaking a hip. It's like you broke your hip. Okay. Might as well get your affairs in order. It's just so sad.
Isn't that terrible?
All goes well, and, spirit, God, whatever you guys call it. It's entirely up to you who that is, the creator. If I've got that much time still, I intend to make a huge difference with.
Absolutely. And my dad's 84, and he says you've got to keep learning, you've got to keep moving, and you've got to have a sense of humor and laugh at yourself. Absolutely. And so that makes sense to me. And I for one I plan to do that. And it sounds like you do too. But I would tell you, I would love for my girls to come to something like you're doing, because their awareness is not what you're talking about. Part of it's as a parent, sometimes you're at fault because you've coddled them too much. But man, I'll tell you, Karl, I think our schools are doing sometimes a little bit wrong versus right. Mm-hmm. We're not making these kids ready for the street or to get out on their own. And it sounds like you have a great plan.
Yeah. And I want to make it simplified. That's why everything I put out is gonna, even when I do goal setting mastery, it's still going to be goal setting mastery simplified, because I want to make it easy to follow, easy to understand, easy to learn, and fun. Interestingly enough, my preface that I always have in my books is, I do not claim to be a scholar by any fashion of the word. You may find run-on sentences, overcapitalization, punctuation issues, etc. If you get caught up in the minutia of the way I write, then put the book down and go away, because I don't care.
Yeah.
But I literally start all of my books with, this is how I write. I write like I speak. Everybody that reads my stuff is like, wow, Karl, is like having you on the couch next to me. And I think when you take, I'm sure it's happened to you. It happens to everybody. You get this great book, I'm looking everywhere I look in my room, I've got Side Hustle Bible and Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins and all this stuff. And sometimes you start into these books and you're 5 or 8 or 10 pages into it. And it's like, oh my God, am I going to be able to read this thing? It's like I'm back in high school reading a textbook. I don't want that.
To Kill a Mockingbird or Shakespeare.
Yeah, I want to entertain people. I intend to take these into videos and everything as time continues. What My, what I'm working on and focusing on the most right now, as I mentioned, I'm a yacht technician by trade. I do electronics on big boats, and everybody's like, "Oh, that must be so glamorous." No, it's hot, miserable, tiny places I got to crawl around in all day long, up and down towers on 70-foot yachts, climbing
Ooh.
ladders 60 feet in the air and back down. You no sooner get up there and you realize the screwdriver that you needed is back down there, and back down you go again, back up again.
Oh,
I love
that,
what I do, but I'm 62.
yeah,
I don't see
I hear
myself
you.
being 72 doing this. So
No,
my motivation, my number one goal is to replace my income, and it's a 6-figure income. So that
that's
takes some work,
yeah,
and
that's awesome. You
opportunities
know,
like this to share and speak is what's going to help to do that.
that's wonderful. And how are you going to incorporate the change book into your life? How does that get no what because we're not actually out yet, but how are you going to, you know, incorporate that into what you're doing now? How does that fit in?
I think one thing is, it's interesting that just from what I've seen so far, and I'm sure you've probably done some of the same with the group that we're involved with through the Change Book, is we're all getting to meet people, and sadly enough, I've missed both the Monday night once a month calls. Last one was we were in Colorado we were actually at a live show up there, so there was no way I was going to miss Dead
Yeah,
and Company. Yeah. We went for
yeah,
the last 3 Grateful Dead shows at Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado.
that's important.
It, it was. We missed the first
Yeah.
one, no thanks to, I won't mention what airline did not unite us with my family, but they literally canceled our Friday morning flight at 4 in the morning for an 8 o'clock flight on the Friday of 4th of July weekend.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I've seen that happen so
0
much, and
flights.
I just what
I
has
found two
happened, you
tickets.
know?
I found 2 tickets for Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock on
Wow.
Southwest. So I bought those immediately for $900. We got up, went to the airport we had gotten up at 6 in the morning. We went to the airport anyway, went to United. We're like, what are you going to do? Oh, we don't know. Oh, well, you can be number 4 and number 5 on the waiting list for the only other flight going there today. That one leaves at 2:30 or something like that. So we came home for a few hours, went back to the airport, sat in standby till almost, of course, it was late, till 4 o'clock. With tears in our eyes, we went home. Got up at 4 o'clock the next morning and went back and went to the Southwest desk and said, what can you do for us? Because we had already bought tickets, they allow you to stay on standby all day. So we actually were
Mhm.
able to stand by on flights prior to our flight. While we're on standby, our flight that's connecting in St. Louis to Denver becomes delayed by an hour and a half, and now the connection's no longer any good.
Oh my
So had we
gosh.
taken that flight, we would have landed in St. Louis, Missouri at 9 o'clock on 4th of July weekend, which means
As you float
we
flying
probably
through the
would have come
fireworks.
home. We probably would have come home from St. Louis, Missouri after the weekend.
Wow, what
So
a
yeah, we
crazy
missed the
story.
entire whole first show. Our amazing daughter bought us this. It was the Millennium Hotel VIP package. We had the hotel, buses, VIP floor, uh, all kinds of swag for all 3 nights. It was like a $3,000 weekend,
Wow.
3 shows, and
Wow.
we missed the entire first show. We
Oh
didn't get there.
no.
We didn't get there till 10 o'clock. The show ended at 10:30 Saturday night. So we lost the whole day with our daughter. So again, this goes back to goal setting. And here's the move in, everybody, and listen up close.
Get
We
your notebook.
Yes, get your pen and paper out. Here I go again. I'm gonna lose my voice. We set the goal. We talked about this a year ago. Shiva called up and said, "Hey, I know Karl loves the Grateful Dead. I want to get this for you guys." And I said, "You don't owe me for Christmas, New Year's, birthday, Father's Day. We're done. Call me on my birthdays from now on. You don't owe me nothing ever again." I mean, just the most amazing opportunity. So So second night, we had all day finally. We go out wandering around. Now, again, I move around pretty well, but we moved around too much that day before the show. We promised ourselves we wouldn't go walking. My daughter and her husband are both big time avid hikers and all that. So of course they walk everywhere because
Yeah.
it's the Boulder, Colorado green thing to do. So by the time we get to the show, we're both exhausted already. Literally end of the first set, we're on our way back to the hotel. We weren't going to make it through the second half. I get back to the hotel and I'm in more pain than I've been in almost since the operation. I mean, just retching in pain. My foot was blue.
Oh no. Ice
bags, everything else is now Monday. This is Sunday. So day 3, Monday is the last show. I wake up, I'm crying, I'm bawling like a baby. My daughter's on the phone. Next thing you know, we're picking up a wheelchair for me. We're going out and buying crutches. I'm like, I can walk on crutches. I did that for 4 months as I was healing. They're all going, oh, hell no, Karl, you're going tonight. No, you're going. We end up on the floor in VIP. They had an area ADA disability on a raised platform that was literally 100 feet from the stage. Show number 3, the entire show from the raised platform on the disability platform. The reward for all the sacrifices, hard effort, and challenges and struggles that it took us to get there.
And how awesome was it?
Oh my God. The Folsom Field was having a drone show for 4th of July. They weren't doing fireworks. Well, the Grateful Dead and Company, as they're called now, in fine fashion must have got word, because near the end of the second set, near the end of the show, all of a sudden, like 1,000 drones light up above the stage.
Wow.
And they start doing all of the Grateful Dead signias and signs, the steal your faces and all this stuff. You can Google Grateful Dead drone show and you'll see the videos. They're fabulous.
I'm going to, yeah.
Unbelievable. So again, amazing. Tuesday morning comes, we get back to, so the next day is 4th of July, my wife's birthday. We finally had a day where we went out, had a beautiful dinner. They took us on a drive to the Rocky Mountains, just a gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful day. Plane flight home, seamless. We both wake up with COVID the next day.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's like, what's next? It's like, what's next? And I literally got home and I was on this other interview I did the very next day, and I was feeling weird, but not bad. And so I went ahead and did that. And I get up the next morning and I feel like not only did the bus run over me, but it was like beep, 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 beep. It backed up to see what it ran over. And that's how I felt.
Wasn't done with you.
Oh, and you can't stop me ever. You cannot put me down. And I've been on my back for 4 days.
I can tell by your stories, you are one tenacious guy. And if you say it's going to happen, by golly, it's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, my weekends typically begin about 2:00 on Sunday afternoon when my wife says, I found the movie. Can you sit down now?
You're the doer. You're the absolute.
As soon as I'm done cutting the grass, honey, I'll be right there.
I'll be right in. No, this interview has been such a pleasure, but I'm curious, if someone asked you about the Change book, what would you tell them? How would you get them to be a part of that?
Interestingly enough, a dear friend of mine just reached out to me through email, and you're right, I completely deflected that question. I apologize. I suffer from Labrador Retriever syndrome. Bunny, squirrel, stick, pond.
It's okay.
So a dear friend of mine just emailed me this morning because he just put out a book. He does daily gems and quotes. And again, an elder guy I've known for 25 years. And I just wrote him a really nice email inviting him for the opportunity to at least have an introduction with Jim and see if it's a fit for him. And I shared with him that I've been blessed to be invited into a collaboration of typically 20 authors. They're about to begin their 20th edition because we were in number 19.
19, right.
And I can tell everybody here who's listening that, amazingly enough, as Nicole mentioned in the beginning of this, that the book's not even out yet. The two Jims, we'll call them, the Change Book producers, publishers, etc., were gloriously, if that's a word, provided each of us our own photo of us on the front cover of the book. And I put it up on my Facebook page, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, when they first offered these to us. And it just created this almost landslide of interest. This is my second interview since already, where I was reached out. Now, again, this is the Change Book podcast, but it's still, this is something, again, that one of the beautiful things is we can add all of this as ammunition to our, I don't like ammunition in arsenal, but good stuff in our bag of goodies. Yes. Let's call it that. It's a much nicer way to say it. We're running with, and, to have the forward by Les Brown, and I must, emphasize forward by Les Brown, because it's been made plain and clear to us. We can't say Les Brown's in the book. He has written the forward of it. Right. Big name for those who don't know. Google Les Brown and you'll be really impressed.
And isn't it cool to be on a cover of a book with Les Brown?
Absolutely.
When you saw that, weren't you just like, I was like, oh man, this is really incredible.
Oh yeah, you did it too. I mean, we both changed our profile pictures on our Facebook because.
Well, I copied you, just so you know.
That's okay. I'm good with that. I've actually been. I'm kind of working on the pitch that Karen had sent to me. That, when she first emailed me and started talking about this, I've always got to put everything in my own context, my own words. It's got to come from Karl, not from something that was copied and pasted. So it was great to have the opportunity to exercise that today. But I really believe in my heart of hearts that it's one of the best moves and best investments I've ever made in myself.
I have
because of the doors that I'm already beginning to see opening. And of course, as a result of anybody that doesn't realize that all this stuff gets out in the ether forever, these podcasts, these interviews are always going to be out there. They become reference points for us to be able to, if somebody else is like, well, why should I have you come in and speak? Watch this. Go to this link. This is why. And I think anybody who wants to do more than just be a published author, wants to actually hit the stages of the world and have an opportunity to share our knowledge and our wisdom with others, it's almost a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. I
agree. And, it's like becoming a family too. Everybody works with one another, helps one another. The gyms are very helpful, and I would recommend going to one of those Mondays whenever you get a chance.
Oh, I'm there the next one.
Nuggets.
Yeah, I'm there next time.
Crazy. So yeah. Well, listen, it has been a pleasure talking to you today. I'm so glad we finally got to meet. You're incredible. I loved interviewing you, and I'm so thankful that you showed up even with COVID for me.
You betcha.
The show must go on.
The show must go on.
And now we're going off, but it's been really fun. And I'm going to do my little outro, and then we will stop the recording, my friend.
Perfect.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I'm Nicole Fryberg, and this is my co-host,
Rachel Betts. And we look forward to seeing you again next time.